Morning. Tzedakah, bring Mashiach. It should stay on here. It just says tzedakah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we went through the four interpretations, the four levels, the four layers of Moda'ani, and we introduced the Chassidus explanation of Moda'ani and how the Chassidus vivifies and energizes and enlivens and illuminates every single one of those four levels interpretations of Moda'ani independently. Now, what the Rebbe is going to do is, being that the Chassidus is one, I guess you could say, is one solid unit, one essence. Therefore, being that it's bringing, it's giving life into each one of these interpretations, but it's all the same essence. All four of these explanations, as they are illuminated by Chassidus, are all interconnected, and they go hand in hand, as we'll see in momentarily. I don't guarantee that you'll understand everything, but bear with me. Section 16. Habiyurim shebachassidus bedaled chelkei hapardes shebemoda'ani kshurim zeh b'zeh. The explanations of Chassidus in the four parts of Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Soid within Moda'ani are connected with each other. Second. Yeah. They're connected with each other. How so? Hakoras ha'odam sha'achidush yesh me'ayin bohu me'atzmus ein sof shelamayla me'ha'elobes habir b'chelek hasoid shebemoda'ani. The recognition of a person that the creation of something from nothing, power for this, comes from Hashem's essence, which transcends creation, which transcends worlds, which is the explanation of Chassidus in the Kabbalah level of Moda'ani. So this recognition, mechazekes es ha'kara shekol ha'elam es mischadshim tamid me'ayin v'efes ha'muchlot habir b'chelik haremes shebemoda'ani. This strengthens the recognition that all the worlds are brought into existence from absolute nothingness, which is the explanation of the hint level of Moda'ani. How so? We explain in the Kabbalah level of Moda'ani that the creation of the world comes from, or through, the level, the sphera of Malchus, called kingship. But we explain this, it's not that it comes from there, the power of it, it comes through there, but the power of it comes from Hashem's essence. From the levels, so to speak, in a more broader sense, from the levels that transcend worldliness. But the way we explained it was more particularly, it comes from Hashem's essence. Because if the creation of the worlds were to come through the sphera of Malchus on its own, just spheres of Malchus, if creation were to stem solely from the level of Malchus, being that in relation to the level of Malchus, from the perspective, from the vantage point of Malchus, the worlds are something to reckon with. The Malchus, we said, itself is connected with time and space, and it is related, and it is subject somewhat to the idea of time and space. Being that if creation were to come from there alone, the creation of existence would not be that the existence would be completely 100%. I'm trying to find the right words here. If creation were to come only strictly from Malchus, not from Hashem's essence, being that Malchus is subject to time and space and is related to worldliness, the extent by which Malchus would create the world, would create existence, would be similar to the way a soul energizes a body. That what? A soul does not create a body. It doesn't. That's the reason why when a person passes away, their body doesn't instantly disappear, because the body has its own independent existence, and the soul has its own independent existence, and all the soul does is that it energizes this body, which exists on its own to an extent. But the soul doesn't create the body. So if creation were to come from the level of Malchus, it would be similar to that the world would have somewhat of an existence, because again, in Malchus's quote-unquote eyes, the world is very much a real thing. So it'd be energizing something that on a certain plane already exists, giving it more existence than it already has. But being that creation does not come solely from Malchus, rather it stems, the power for it comes from Hashem's essence. That from Hashem's perspective, from Hashem's essence, the perspective there is that worlds do not take up any space whatsoever. They don't have a true existence at all. There's no space for their existence in the first place. It's not even a conversation piece. And their entire existence, from top to bottom, from inside and out, from every iota, is being introduced as a new creation. Okay, so the idea that creation stems from Hashem's essence strengthens the idea that creation is from absolute nothing to an absolute something. Or more focuses on the absolute nothing to a something. Ubimela, automatically. Bohu lahakoras ha'achdus be'ofen she'enod milvade. This brings one to a realization of the oneness of Hashem is in a manner of ein oid milvade. There is none besides for Him. This is a verse in the Torah which says ein oid milvade. There's nothing besides for Him. The way this is literally understood on a simple level is that there are no other powers or no other gods besides for Him, besides for Hashem. Chassidus comes and explains, no, it's not no, but that's true. And the Chassidus level of the meaning of this is that there is no other existence besides for Hashem. Nothing else truly exists. The only true existence is Hashem. Meaning that what? As the Rebbe points out, quoting from the Tanya, shekol ha'olamos hein ayin vo'efes mamish l'gabe HaKadosh Baruch Hu ve'einu nikrois b'shem klal afilu b'shem oy shul lashon tafel, that all the worlds that exist, the physical and the spiritual worlds, they are absolute nothing in contrast in relation to Hashem, and they're not even called by a particular name. They don't have any sort of legitimate existence to them. They're not even secondary to Hashem's existence. Umikivan shekain, being that this is so, when one comes to such realization, it's felt by the person with a simplicity. When you come to the realization that existence, the way we know it, is not true, it's not real, there's nothing to it. Hashem brings it into existence at every moment. And if we're to stop, it would not be, because there's nothing to this. There's no substance to it. There's no real substance to it. The only true existence is Hashem. When you realize this properly, you come to another realization. You become sensitive to the idea that just physically being alive is nothing. There's nothing to it. There's no existence to it. It's not even half important. Real existence is only one thing: connection with Hashem. Which is the way the Chassidus illuminated the simple, the literal level of Maidani. That you come to the realization that, thank you Hashem for returning my neshama, my soul. If you give me back a different life force that would just keep me alive, I wouldn't thank you, because, again, from the level of Yechida, the Yechida is sensitive to this idea. But these are all interconnected, these ideas. And what about the last one, the Drush level of Maidani, about mitzvahs? From this recognition that there is nothing truly besides for Hashem, it's obvious by the person who comes to this realization that when you're doing Hashem's mitzvahs, you're doing what Hashem wants, His commandments, you can't mix in, even in a secondary manner, any sort of other reason or goal or purpose to doing the mitzvah. That I'm going to do this mitzvah because Hashem said so, but also because, no, there is no also because. The kol kiyumum tzarich liyas mitzad ratzon habayre, and their entire fulfillment needs to be simply because Hashem said so. This is what Hashem wants. Like we explained earlier in the explanation of Chassidus, as it energizes the drush level of Maida'ani. I will add one thing here. We did explain over there that when you do a mitzvah, even the mitzvahs that are rational, they have a rationale to them and they make sense, you're supposed to do them because Hashem said so. I don't really know if we touched on this point I'm about to say, but I'll bring it up now. Those mitzvahs that have a reason that we're given a reason that we can relate to, or that they would be obvious to us, like not stealing, not killing, and also the mitzvahs that commemorate an event of some sort, those mitzvahs, we're supposed to do them also because of their rationale. Also because of their logic. But we don't do them because of their logic. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a nuanced difference, which is, Hashem says, honor your parents. Yeah, makes sense. You honor your parents. Why? What do you mean? They brought you. They because of them that you're born. They raised you. They gave you everything you need to grow and to progress in life. They deserve a respect from you. Okay. Now, if it was just that, then you would say there are situations where if I don't like the way my parents are treating me, then they don't deserve my respect, and I should treat them differently. There's a story in the Gemara, in the Talmud. It says there was a certain Jew that his mother got upset, and she took his money pouch, his wallet, which had a tremendous amount of money in it, and she tossed it into the water, into the ocean. And he didn't respond. He was quiet. He didn't get upset. And this was the Talmud is indicating and showing and highlighting. Wow, look at this person's honoring of his mother. You'd say in that case he should yell at her. He should, God forbid, because there's also the main component of a mitzvah, which is that Hashem desires so, and it transcends logic and it transcends reason. Just you got to do it. This is the way it is. When we say that when there's a mitzvah that has a logic to it, has a rationale to it, has a reason to it, the main focus, the main reason why you're doing the mitzvah is because Hashem said so, and that always stays. That's always the same with every mitzvah, whether you understand it, whether you don't. But when there's a rationale given for it, for the mitzvah, you also are supposed to have in mind the rationale. That, again, you're doing it because Hashem said so. And you're also, the keyword here is also, it's secondary, almost. You're also doing it because you appreciate the rationale that the Torah gives for this mitzvah. Okay, we'll go a little bit further because there's another section here. I'm not going to go there through the whole thing. We'll start it off. Bechinas hayechida, the level of yechida, the essence. Lihiyoisa atzmis, being that it is an essence. Ena sheleles es hanaranach, the four levels of the soul. Nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya. When I'm done, I can help you out with the machine. It gets stuck sometimes. The four levels of the soul, nefesh, ruach, neshama, and chaya, being that yechida is the essence, it doesn't negate these four levels. It's not like yechida pops in and says, hey guys, other levels of soul, make way, I'm here. No. Chassidus doesn't come and override all the other explanations of Torah. Adaram, on the contrary, he ha'etzim shakol madrigas hapratius. It is the essence of all those levels. It is the core of those self-same levels. The Rebbe goes in the parentheses over here to make a contrast between essence and revelation, the two sides to a coin, but we're not going to get into that now. It's going to be a little complicated. V'lachein, says the Rebbe, therefore, being that the chida, the essence, doesn't negate the other levels, rather it enhances them because it is their core, it is their essence. That being the case, one of the main, I'm going to make up a word, I hope it's a real word, I think it's a real word. One of the main emphases, yeah, sounds good, you say emphasizers, I don't know, like it doesn't. One of the main emphases of Chassidus is ichud hapratim imo etzem, is uniting the details with the essence. Because Chassidus is the essence of all the lower levels, and it doesn't negate them. On the contrary, it enhances them because it is them. One of the main focuses of Chassidus is to unite all the specific levels and details with the core. And this emphasis will also be understood more from the vitality that Chassidus brings into all the four parts of Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Soid within Moedani. I think we'll pause here. We're gonna start off something and not gonna be able to finish it. Better not to do that. Okay. We will continue, God willing, tomorrow. Pause the recording and we'll move on.